And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially live. We are live on Malcgoolie and Spotlight Sports Talk. Officially live. I'm sorry. Live on
What is up, y'all? What is up? Malcgoolie and Spotlight live on both channels.
On both channels, ladies and gentlemen. And we are here with a different type of live stream tonight. We're definitely going into some wrestling.
Y'all.
Wrestling. We got a lot to talk about with this topic here. And I say that because, my phone died. My phone fell. Sorry.
Well, his phone died. But our topic today, ladies and gentlemen, first things first, before we start, hit the like button. For God's sakes, you hit the like button.
Hit the like button, exactly. You have to hit the like button.
From me.
Definitely going to hit the like button, y'all. We definitely have y'all, subscribe to our channels. Hopefully we can have, both people in here. Lee Jenkins, what's going on, Lee Jenkins? Sports 24/7. What's going on? And let me just share this real quick before we get into the top 10.
We're live on both our channels, guys. We're live on both channels.
Yes, we're live on both channels, ladies and gentlemen. We're live on both channels. All right, let me just do this. We are live on here. We are live.
Ortiz. What's up, my brother? Ortiz.
If you have not subscribed to Spotlight Sports Talk, please do. If you have not subscribed to Malcgoolie, please do. We will appreciate it. Just to let you know that the GoolieZone Podcast, Anchor, and Spotify is in the description, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the description, so please go support GoolieZone Podcast, and we could probably put this on the GoolieZone Podcast as well, and probably on the Spotlight Sports Talk. But we have a lot of topics, a lot of top 10s to talk about. Now, me and Goolie come from two different eras. I'm the big brother, so I want to talk more about the Attitude Era, because Attitude Era was my era. More of Ruthless Aggression Era was Malcgoolie, but he knows a lot about the Attitude Era as well. So I want him to talk about the Ruthless Aggression first, before we get into our top 10s and other topics that we have.
For the Ruthless Aggression Era, there's no need to fret about this, guys. You know what? For years, everybody says that the Attitude Era is the greatest era ever in the history of the WWE. But, looking back on it, while doing so much research for this video for you guys, but you know what? I think the Ruthless Aggression Era can hold its own with the WWE, with the WWF Attitude Era. And, here's why. You got to remember, after the Attitude Era died, Austin went home in 2002. And, he took his ball and went home. And, WWE was losing stars. They were losing fans. The Rock was leaving to make movies. Stone Cold Steve Austin left in a huff. I mean, yeah, Vince McMahon brought the NWO back, but still, it was kind of a watered-down version of the NWO. So Vince McMahon one night on Raw saying that he wanted that ruthless aggression. And that brought up some big stars like John Cena, from John Cena, Batista. Do I need to mention Edge, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio?
But you got to think about it. Chris Jericho was part of that Attitude Era.
And Chris Jericho was a part of that Attitude Era too. But, when they had Ruthless Aggression Era, but, WWF, the WWE needed stars, and they had it. And then also, you had to think of the brand split. You had Raw, because the superstars were together in 2002. When WWE bought WCW, you had the roster of WCW from 2001 and the roster from WWE. And, you had guys coming up You had Florida FCW and actually not FCW, actually OVW.
Yeah, it was OVW. I was about to say that.
Like OVW, and you like Shelton Benjamin, and there's so many more. When it came to that, and WWE needed new stars, and to me, I think they succeeded, because if they didn't, who knows what would happen. All right, you can say that the Ruthless Aggression era was a huge success. So many memories.
And I think the Ruthless Aggression had to be done just because what of the Attitude Era did for the wrestling business. Knowing taking WCW out of business, going into the Monday Night Wars with WCW and getting our ass kicked for almost 2 years in the ratings during that Attitude Era.
86 weeks.
Yeah, 86 weeks, and started to, WWE started to change the way they do things. And when the Attitude Era came out, like the Ministry of Darkness, you had the Nation of Domination, you had DX, you had a few crews that was actually good. And then, you got to think about it. Sometimes the Hardy Boys is part of that Attitude Era as well. That's when it started. Like Mick Foley was part of that Attitude Era. A lot of extreme stuff started to happen in the Attitude Era, even from the women's part of it. Women's wrestling wasn't big in the Attitude Era like it was in Ruthless Aggression Era. I can say that because the Ruthless Aggression Era had more women's wrestling than the Attitude Era is. You had the contests like the evening gown contests, and then you had the bikini contests. You didn't really see right, you know what I'm saying? You really didn't have much of the women's wrestling in the Attitude Era. So that's why I could give the Ruthless Aggression that big up, because it probably wouldn't be a women's evolution if it wasn't for the Ruthless Aggression Era. That's just what it is. But yeah, with the Attitude Era, I grew up Attitude Era. I grew up Ruthless Aggression as well, but Malcgoolie is more of Ruthless Aggression than I am. So yeah, so I don't know which one you want to get into first of these topics, bro, but it's really about to get interesting on here. And we could be doing this show probably, every Thursday, talking not just WWE. We could talk AEW, we could talk TNA, we could talk Ring of Honor, and we could talk anything on Thursdays about wrestling. This is what we want to do, because Spotlight Sports Talk just don't cover Raiders, just don't cover Sixers, just don't cover the major sports, because wrestling is a sport at the end of the day, y'all say it's entertainment, but what they do in the ring is a sport.
Yep. And also how we're going to start this off, we're going to start off with, you have to build seeds off of it, and you know what those seeds is feuds, and those feuds, like the Attitude Era. And I'm going to let Brother Spotlight go first, because he's the older brother. And besides, I want to hear these feuds, brother, that you have for the Attitude Era.
Oh, so for the Attitude Era, the top 10 rivalries that I have for the Attitude Era, and mind you, just to let you know, any of these top 10s that we have is in no particular order. These are just the top 10s that I feel as though they were top 10 in my era. And I'm gonna start with number 10. Number 10 was Kurt Angle versus Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit. That was one of the matches that I love so much, because it was 3 different type of wrestlers. You had a Chris Benoit that was technical, that really didn't give 2 shits about nothing. You had a Jericho that could be a high flying and be more entertaining in the ring. And you had a Kurt Angle that comes from a wrestling background, that he could give you 1,000 holes as well if he wanted to. So I really did like the Kurt Angle versus Jericho versus Chris Benoit top 10 as far as my number 10. My number 9 is Stone Cold versus DX. That was a good rivalry there, knowing that it came into fruition with WrestleMania. We all know what happened with the Shawn Michaels situation. And then, you had a lot of feuds with Triple H as well. So just DX, the crew alone, versus Stone Cold, and Stone Cold took on all of them and didn't really give a rat's ass about it. Because I am going to curse on this podcast today. I'm going to curse because this is wrestling. Wrestling curses, God damn it. But But they really low on my totem pole because Stone Cold he ended up having great individual rivalries outside of the group DX alone. And then number 8, I have The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. I have that one as well, knowing that Undertaker really got under. Shawn Michaels really got under Undertaker's skin, and it really started when Shawn Michaels hit Undertaker over the head with the chair, and that's when that Hell in a Cell match ended up happening. So Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, I love. I'm kind of mad I got it at number 7, but the next couple of ones you will see why I have there. Number 6, I have Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys.
Yes.
That was a rivalry. When I tell you, they were some of the best 3 tag teams in the Attitude Era. You could not tell us anything about tag team wrestling in that era. With that Attitude Era really started for the Ruthless Aggression Era. And I'm sorry to say it, Malcgoolie, but these 3 teams really was the reason why Ruthless Aggression had great tag teams. It's just my personal opinion. Number 5, Triple H versus Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Triple H versus Mick Foley was a hell of a rivalry. Number 4, The Rock versus Mankind. That was a hell of a rivalry. Then the top 3. See, the last couple ones I have The Rock in. Rock versus Stone Cold at number 3. Can't go wrong with that. Rock versus Triple H, number 2. One of the biggest rivalries in WWE history. So you can't even be mad about that. Number 1. And everybody know what number 1 should be. Everybody knows what number 1. This is the reason why the Attitude Era was the Attitude Era. Vince and Stone Cold. It's obvious, man. It is obvious. The boss versus the employee. You just couldn't. If you did not want to go in on Tuesday morning to smack the shit out of your boss after you watched the Monday Night Raw with the rivalry between Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, I don't know what you're thinking about. I don't know if you like your job.
Literally put the middle finger on their boss. Who didn't want to Stone Cold stunner the crap out of their boss? Who didn't want to beat the living dog piss out of their boss?
Right. Who didn't want to do that? Like, come on. Like, I gotta think about it. Like, there's no way in hell that any rivalry could not. No, none of these rivalries could top the Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. None of these rivalries that I have, but I do have an honorable mention. You might not like this, Malcgoolie, but I thought it was entertaining but good at the same time. It was Jericho versus Stephanie McMahon.
That was hilarious.
That was a very hilarious rivalry.
Hilarious. Why would I get mad at that? That is hilarious. Jericho always freaking trashing Stephanie. Can I say it? Stephanie McMahon is nothing but a dirty, filthy, trash bag feeding hoe. That was amazing. I mean, who didn't remember the Raw where like this? Our little princess sure has grown over the last year.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Let the bodies hit the floor. I want to say, let the boobies hit the floor. Who else? What else did Jericho? Oh, he threw a pie at Stephanie's face. That was also hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was definitely hilarious. But since I went, that is my top 10 rivalries of the Attitude Era. Now, Goolie, I want you to get into these Ruthless Aggressions, top 10 feuds / rivalries. Mind you, there is no order of these. So, yeah, go ahead and get it done, brother. Go ahead and get it done.
Number 10, y'all. I'm going to actually make this short and sweet. Number 10, you gotta go. This one is also going to shock y'all. John Cena versus Edge. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
That's number 10. That could be a little bit higher, but
I know that could be a little bit higher.
But it's not ranked. It's not a ranking, though, so I get it.
But it's no particular order. There's no particular order.
Yeah, no particular order. Absolutely.
John Cena versus Edge was that feud. It was the feud. I mean, John Cena, the hip hopping yo, and you had Edge with the rock and roll. On this day, they could never be. They were so polar opposites. Need I remind you how this story started? John Cena John Cena retaining the WWE Championship at, I think it was New Year's resolution, and Edge being the first ever man to win Money in the Bank and literally cash it in on John Cena, a very bloody and broken John Cena. That was something. Their match at the Royal Rumble was great. John Cena, I think their best match, guys, it's in TLC. In Edge's hometown of Toronto, John Cena came in to Edge's house in Edge's home and low-key won the WWE title in a TLC match. Also, the moment where Edge actually seriously beat the living crap out of John Cena's father. Come on.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I can't lie about it.
Number 9. DX is on this list. Now, yeah, you can have Austin versus the McMahons, but let's be honest. In 2006, when DX reunited, DX versus the McMahons.
Yeah, I didn't even have that on. I didn't have that on my list, but that was it was later on in the years for the Attitude Era. It was really good. So
you had DX, you had low-key DX versus the McMahons. Let's be real. DX did legit everything to make the McMahons' life a living hell. Think about it. They spray painted WWE headquarters with the DX things. Remember, who also got in trouble for school for saying cock and suck it? Okay? Remember
absolutely.
Vince loves cock. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My God. That was hilarious. What's another thing that happened? Also, oh my God, when they drenched the McMahons, and I kind of threw up, and even my dad said Dad threw up, and that was when they showered the McMahons with oh God,
with the poo,
with shit.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
I remember that.
And also, let's be real, Shawn Michaels coming out as Shane McMahon. Do I have to? Like, look at me. I'm dancing, Dad. Stop it. And also, you know what? The SummerSlam match was good. And also their match at Unforgiven 2006 was even good. And that was when the Hell in a Cell. Granted, they did add a Big Show, but Big Show was also a big effing deal in 2006, winning the ECW championship. But we'll talk about ECW down the road.
Yeah, we'll have definitely another podcast for that one.
Also, number 7. This one is also a good one, too. This one will always get me. Kurt Angle. No, actually not Kurt Angle. Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle.
That was a hell of a rivalry.
Hell of a
rivalry and Ruthless Aggression. I loved that rivalry. That was one of the best rivalries that I had watching Ruthless Aggression.
And you know what? My favorite match from them is both the SummerSlam match and the WrestleMania match. I don't know which match is better, guys. I don't know which match is better. I mean, Eddie Guerrero, you know, I think the SmackDown before SummerSlam, one of my favorite promos with Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle was this. Kurt, you keep on saying, Holmes, that I have to lie, cheat, and steal my way. But what about this Sunday at SummerSlam, Holmes? What if I can beat you? What if I can beat you? What if I can beat you clean? Remember that. And I thought Kurt was going to lose to Eddie again, but that didn't happen. But yeah, Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero. That one was a classic feud. It was a classic feud, and it will always be a classic feud. And you know what? We got to go back to Kurt Angle again. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. You know, yeah, I know they had it in the Attitude Era, and then I think it really fueled more in the Ruthless Aggression Era. You guys got to remember in 2002, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit were the first ever SmackDown WWE Tag Team Champions. They beat Edge and Rey Mysterio for those belts. Then they feuded for the WWE Championship, and to so many fans, including me, probably one of the best matches on Royal Rumble 2003, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit for the Royal Rumble 2003. I mean, Benoit and Guerrero had so many matches.
As tag team and as single wrestlers going against each other.
Really, really. And then also Kurt Angle. And also, we got to put this as an honorable mention, Kurt Angle versus Edge. Because Edge started the "You suck" chant. You suck.
He sure did. He sure did start it.
And then he also shaved Kurt Angle's head bald.
And that's Kurt Angle. He's been bald ever since.
Yeah, he's been bald ever since. So where am I at? Like number 7, 6 or something?
You got them written down, don't you?
I got them written down, but I didn't. I put them all in bullet point instead of number. Another one that's also good because this also brought some realism to it. Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan, 2003.
Really?
Hear me out. I know you're gonna say, "Dang, really?" I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Why would you put this as a rivalry for the Ruthless Aggression era?" Well, think about this. In WrestleMania 19, I think this went all the way. I think this started all the way right into the Royal Rumble. It goes. You got to go back to the 80s, like around not the 80s, but the early 90s. Remember when Vince McMahon was on trial for the steroid abuse? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember
Hulk
that.
Hogan testified against his former boss. Also, Hulk Hogan left the WWE to go to WCW to put Vince out of business. There was so much realism to it. And then also remember the story is who created Hulkamania.
Yeah.
And let's be real. Freaking WrestleMania 19, Vince McMahon with the shot of the night when his face was all bloody and he hold that lead pipe. Even Taz had the best call of the night. Here's Vince. That's what he looked like. He looked like the freaking devil. And it was a good feud. And even after WrestleMania, when Hulk Hogan beat the living crap out of Vince, what happened? Vince fired Hogan anyway, and then Hogan came back as Mr. America. If you remember that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I hated that Mr. America. I hated it. It was very entertaining, but I hated it.
But then it also started with Zach Gowen, and I'll get to Zach Gowen and down the road. Another one that is a straight up good one. The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, 2002.
As a rivalry?
Yes. Have you not seen Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, but I really don't remember that much of Brock Lesnar.
They brought the Undertaker's ex-girlfriend into it. They brought, when Taker was, still married to Sarah at the time, Sarah was pregnant. Brock Lesnar put his hand on the body of Undertaker's unborn child.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it made Brock Lesnar like this freaking, the animal that he is today, the beast.
Like, we're just talking about rivalries right now. I mean, Taker and Kane was a good rivalry, but it didn't last long with the original Kane. That's just me. For the Attitude Era, they did have a feud in the Ruthless Aggression era, but it still wasn't the same.
So yeah, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar was always one of my favorite feuds. Another very intense feud. And speaking of the Undertaker, let's not forget about Undertaker versus Randy Orton.
I love that feud in Ruthless Aggression. Dude, I love when he broke down the casket when it was on fire, and then you should see Randy Orton's face. Oh my God.
But here's another moment too. A lot of people also don't know this, but Randy Orton was supposed to beat the streak at Mania 21. Not Brock Lesnar. No, it was supposed to be Randy Orton. But according to backstage politics and Randy Orton being a young cocky punk that he was back in the day, it didn't happen. But it did have some very memorable moments. Remember when Randy Orton backed up Eddie Guerrero's lowrider and damn near killed Undertaker with it?
Yeah.
Shoot. What's another one? Their epic match at Hell in a Cell. That match was amazing.
Yeah, that match was amazing.
Very amazing. Also, we got another one for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah, until he almost broke his freaking neck.
Brock almost killed himself at Mania 9. Also, the rematch at SummerSlam 2003 was pretty good too. Angle and Brock, it was a wrestler's dream. And also, can we remember the great Iron Man match that those two had? That was a really great match, and it was on free television too, so you really couldn't complain.
Yeah.
You really couldn't complain.
I definitely didn't complain. I can't lie about that. I definitely did not complain.
And here is here's the number one, guys. Here's my number one. And to me, this was intense. It was amazing. It was awesome. It was the Shiz Night. Triple H versus HBK.
They had a good feud, and they had a great feud. And
aggression without mentioning the Heartbreak Kid and Triple H. SummerSlam 2002, Armageddon 2002, Royal Rumble 2004, the Bad Blood 2004, WrestleMania 2020. Like, my God.
But I think the SummerSlam one was the best match for me.
Oh yeah, because Sean came back.
Sean came back, and it was a street fight, and he was going he was away for like 5 years, right?
Sean left in '98, so 4 years.
Oh yeah, 4 years. Okay.
HBK versus Triple H had to be number one. Either that or Austin versus McMahon. Austin versus McMahon was number one on Spotlights for Attitude Era. My number one is HBK versus Triple H. And HBK means Heartbreak Kid, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Like, even Evolution. Dude. But yeah, There's so many great rivalries, though. But you know what? McMahon and Austin was great. Nothing can ever top that. But I think the one that can compete with it, Triple H and HBK can compete with that feud.
Yeah, it could definitely compete with that feud. Absolutely.
Like Triple H was trying to get out of the shadow of Shawn Michaels.
So that's there you have it, man. There you have it with the top 10 rivalries from the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Now, I want to get into top 10 pay-per-views from our era, from the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Now, since I went first in the last one, I'm gonna have Malcgoolie go first in the top 10 pay-per-views of Ruthless Aggression Era. So you can take the floor with this one, brother.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. No, these are not in particular order.
Yeah, it's not in particular order, y'all. Not in particular order.
As everybody knows, back in the day, I used to be an ECW DVD reviewer. And I still need to review a lot because I still got a lot for my collection. But when WWE revamped it ECW, I'm not talking about the crappy 2007, 2006. No. I'm talking about WWE presents ECW One Night Stand 2005. Oh my God. It was like going back down memory lane. Watching guys like Sabu, Rhino, injured RVD, Paul Heyman cutting the best shoot promo ever of everything that was going on in that time period. You had Eddie Guerrero, which I believe was dang near his last match that really, mattered, with Benoit. Then you had the most awesomest match to me that really gave me a headache. Had me a Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome.
But wasn't that same you talking about the ECW One Night Stand, right?
Yeah, that was in One Night Stand.
Yeah, that was the revamp. That was like when they brought it back. But that's when Cena came out with his head down holding the belt.
That's 2006.
Oh, that's 2006. Okay.
2006 was the one with RVD versus John Cena, and yes, that match did stole the show.
That was kind of a good pay-per-view as well.
It was. I don't think it's
top 10, but I think it was a good pay-per-view.
The reason why I put 2005 as a top 10 because it was like memory lane. It was like a way for the fans to say, you know what? What if ECW had that one final show? That would have been a hell of a way to end off the ECW brand. But then ECW got handed horribly. But that's another story for another time. Guys, there's going to be a few WrestleManias on here. You know what? The Attitude Era was good and all, but they did give us a lot of lackluster WrestleManias. Even Spotlight has to agree.
Yeah.
15 and 16 were lackluster.
They were lackluster. They had some okay matches, but it was, you could say it was lackluster. You could say that.
Let me say this, WrestleMania 19. Every time when I look at everybody's top 10 list of the best WrestleManias of all time, it's always either WrestleMania 17. And what shocked me, a lot of people said WrestleMania 19 was number 2, and I was like, and looking back on it, WrestleMania 19 is a damn good pay-per-view. I'm sorry, because a lot of things happened. Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. You had Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. Booker T versus Triple H. You had Hulk Hogan versus Vince. You had, even Spotlight will have to agree, because it ended in the Ruthless Aggression Era, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, that actually ended up being in the Ruthless Aggression Era and the Attitude Era. So that's just interesting how that feud went so long.
Right? Yes, it was Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. That match was phenomenal. Very good, phenomenal match.
Yeah, that was a great match. I loved that match.
Another one, WrestleMania 20. Let's be real. Everybody remembers this show. This is also, to me, one of my top 5 favorite WrestleManias. And that's only because, the Eddie Guerrero defending the WWE Championship against Kurt Angle was a hell of a match. We had the return of the Dead Man. Victoria shaved Molly Holly's head. And the reason why I bring that match up...
Wasn't that the one that Trump was there too?
No, that was 2023.
Okay.
John Cena, John Cena winning his first ever WWE, winning his first title in WrestleMania. That was the United States Championship against the Big Show. If you look at WrestleMania 20, look at the crowd reaction, the pop that John Cena got when he won the U.S. title. And then
he did get a lot of pop from that. He did get a lot of pop from that.
And granted, WrestleMania 20 is the WrestleMania that gave us Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Jesus Christ, we don't talk about that match. And it also had the match. To me, the match that made me cry. Benoit, Hunter, and HBK. Benoit winning the World Heavyweight title and Eddie Guerrero in the ring, and they're hugging. You had the WWE champion and the World Heavyweight champion side by side. Because you got to remember, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit traveled down the road together. Japan, Mexico, WCW, and now WWE. And they're both like the world champions. They're both world champions. And it's so sad. Even if you look at WrestleMania 20, you can't tell me that you don't look at WrestleMania 20 and not cry at that moment. Because it's a tear-jerking moment. No matter, granted, what Chris Benoit did, I will say, is unforgivable. But at the end of the day, that's the human being. But you can't take away from the wrestling ability.
Yeah, from the wrestler itself.
And it made me cry to this day. So yeah. Another WrestleMania is on this list. WrestleMania 21. The match. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. Let's be real. I'm just a sexy Kurt. Sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt. Ankle hurt. And this is also the WrestleMania that launched John Cena to be a big name. It's the same pay-per-view that launched Batista. Batista and John Cena won the flagship titles. And also, need I remind you, the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match? Need I say more? Need I say more? WrestleMania 22.
How many WrestleManias, damn it? Jeez.
I'm telling you, Ruthless Aggression never gave us any lackluster WrestleManias. They gave us damn near amazing WrestleManias. WrestleMania 22. I'm going to keep this one short. RVD winning Money in the Bank. Awesome. You had freaking You had oh my God, John Cena beating Triple H, which a lot of people wanted Triple H to win the title. Need I also remind people of this one? This would be a good one too. Sure. Oh my God, Vince McMahon getting his ass kicked by HBK.
Oh yeah, what pay-per-view was that?
WrestleMania 22.
Jesus Christ.
Mick Foley versus Edge.
Yeah, Mick Foley versus Edge when Edge speared him on a table with flames. Yeah.
And now Spotlight, there's no more WrestleManias on this list. Next, SummerSlam 2002. As much as I hate Brock Lesnar because I wasn't ready for Brock to be the man in WWE, I was still Rocky. But I have to admit, having Brock Lesnar win the WWE Championship was a big, big thing, and it really was. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio was a good match. Rob Van Dam versus Chris Benoit for the Intercontinental Championship was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
You had Shawn Michaels returning after leaving the ring for 4 years, taking on Triple H. SummerSlam 2003. Yep, 03 made it to this list. I love 03 because you know what? The start of that Kane beating the crap out of RVD. You had the Elimination Chamber, and yes, I will agree the ending was stupid. Having Goldberg lose to Triple H with one sledgehammer shot was really stupid. But still, you also had Eric Bischoff versus Shane McMahon, and even that was kind of entertaining. Eric Bischoff versus Shane McMahon. Good God almighty. Entertaining. Classic. What's another one, guys? Vengeance 2003. I put Vengeance 2003 on this list because this was also the first SmackDown pay-per-view in 03. And I remember this very well. The APA's inaugural barroom brawl match, which was funny as hell, but it was also entertaining. A very hitting tag team title match. I kid you not. Go on the WWE Network and watch Vengeance 2003. You will get the filthy animals, or what I think that's what they were called. But it was Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman against the world's greatest tag team for the SmackDown tag team titles.
I remember the world's greatest tag team.
That was a great match. This also kind of jumped John Cena. Yep, back to John Cena again. John Cena versus The Undertaker at Vengeance 2003. You had Stephanie versus Sable. You had Zach Gowen versus Vince McMahon, which was actually a pretty decent match. And the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Big Show versus Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. Kurt Angle's first.
What pay-per-view was that?
Vengeance 2003. Another one on my list, Survivor Series 2002. And the reason why I'm silent because I can remember every match. The Dudley Boys, which was Bubba and Spike at the time. Bubba and Spike and Jeff Hardy versus 3 Minute Warning. Devon Dudley came back and they revived the Dudley Boys. Amazing way to start it off. Then you also have Victoria versus Trish Stratus. Victoria beats Trish. That was a good one. And it was a hardcore match. You also had Brock Lesnar versus Big Show for the WWE Championship match. And Brock Lesnar was coming undefeated at SummerSlam, at Survivor Series 2002. And yeah, guess who Brock Lesnar lost to at this show, guys? The Big Show of all people. Big Show beat Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman's betrayal. Nobody expected that. And also, need I say more with this one? The triple threat tag team championship match. And I'll talk about that match later on. And then also, it was the debut of the Elimination Chamber match. Triple H, RVD.
When Elimination Chamber used to mean something.
Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. The first ever Elimination Chamber match? Are you kidding me? Triple H almost died in that match. When Rob Van Dam broke Hunter's trachea. And Triple H still continued on with that match with a broken trachea. Any normal human being would be dead. But Angels loved Triple H that day.
Enrique said maybe No Way Out 2004 should be on the list. That was a good pay-per-view in my opinion.
And it really is. And that's why, and I'm glad Enrique said that, because that is on my list. Because 2004 No Way Out, let's talk about it.
Or Royal Rumble 2004.
And Royal Rumble 2004 is on that list. Royal Rumble 2004, Chris Benoit. Need I say more? Winning the Royal Rumble. And 2004 No Way Out, Eddie Guerrero's moment. He beat Brock Lesnar. The only man who can beat Brock Lesnar. Think about it.
At that time, yes.
At that time. The only person Brock said he can never beat is Eddie Guerrero. And there's my top 10 right there for Ruthless Aggression pay-per-views. And I know it was kind of cheating putting WrestleManias on there, but Jesus Christ. Be honest with yourselves.
Yeah, it's not really cheating. I mean, it's pay-per-views of the era, so it's not like, the Big Four wasn't on, there. But let's get into the Attitude Era pay-per-views. The top 10 best WWE Attitude Era pay-per-views, and number 10 is King of the Ring 1998. When King of the Ring 1998 was so good, it was so phenomenal because of The Undertaker versus Mankind in Hell in a Cell.
Good God Almighty! They killed him.
He's broken in half. Oh my God. You had The Rock versus Ken Shamrock, which is one of the possibly most underrated feuds of the Great One's career, in my personal opinion. You do have we had X-Pac versus Owen Hart on that, which is on that event as well. Then you had the first blood match between Steve Austin and Kane. Kane, they try to see if Kane can actually be, can hang in a main event, knowing that Kane debuted right before his match. So that was really, he debuted in that, no, I'm wrong. That's the Michaels and Taker.
You're thinking
that's Michaels and Taker. But that was in 90. Yeah. And King of the Ring was really it was important. Everyone knew the Hell in a Cell match between Taker and Mankind, but
the first blood match between Austin and Kane.
Yeah, Austin and Kane. Undertaker broke his foot when he dropped down from the cell. He broke his foot. That was a lot of people didn't know that either, and that kind of kickstarted Mankind's career as well. So, it was definitely a great pay-per-view in my opinion. And then number 9, you have Armageddon 1999. I love Armageddon 1999. It showed absolutely perfectly everything that had its flaws in 99, with no exception. Perhaps it was a flawed pay-per-view on the list. It definitely was quality. Everything else was, it definitely had a good matches on there. It showed like the Dudley Boys, the Hardys, and Edge, and the Acolytes was on there. 4 teams that reinvented the tag team wrestling in that era, like I said before. And then you had Kurt Angle, had his first real challenge against when he took on Steve Blackman. That was a good match because both of them was very technical, but Steve Blackman was a very underrated wrestler. He didn't get the respect that he did in the WWE. That's just my opinion there. Kane versus X-Pac feud was super hot at the time. It was good, but it wasn't his best. But you did have Jericho win his first championship at this event. The Rock and Sock connection was definitely at the Armageddon 1999. And then you had the feud between Vince McMahon and Triple H.
That was a good feud.
Right. And then I think there was some other ones on there too.
But going back to Armageddon 1999, I think everybody would say I didn't expect Stephanie McMahon to turn heel. I did not expect that. I was like, did she just
that's what she tried to hit. She was going to hit Triple H with the sledgehammer.
And I just love JR had the call and I saying, "Oh my God, she can't do it. Her heart's not in it. She can't do it."
Yeah, that I have to say that I'll have to say that because I was that was kind of a shock to me for her to turn heel even on her. Well, I think that was her husband at the time.
No, I was her boyfriend at the
No, her
time.
boyfriend, right? Okay. And then I have at number 8, Fully Loaded, 1999. Fully Loaded was really good. Where you had Al Snow and the Big Boss Man, and D'Lo. They brought the prestigious back the European Championship, and Ken Shamrock faced off Steve Blackman. That was a good martial arts match that I did like as well. You did have the up and come. You had Edge capture his first championship, defeated Jeff Jarrett. The Acolytes versus the Hardy Boys and Michael Hayes. You had the Attitude Era Alls, with Austin and McMahon, D-Generation X at the time. Mr. Ass and China teamed up to take on Road Dogg and X-Pac for the DX name. I remember that. First blood match between Austin and Taker. If Taker wins, Austin loses the WWF Championship and the ability, he won't be able to have a shot. He won't be able to have a title shot again, which he ended up getting title shots after that. But and Vince returned to take on Triple H and McMahon versus Austin was really the forefront of the Fully Loaded of 1999.
It was the end of the feud between Austin and McMahon.
Yeah, it was the end of the feud at that time. It was definitely the end of the feud. At number 7, I have Royal Rumble 2001. Royal Rumble 2001 was pretty interesting to me. You had Ivory versus China, and China, over as a baby face, for the right to censor. Y'all remember that? I know y'all remember right to censor.
God. They won too. Think about that, guys. The right to censor won. Damn fools.
Yeah, I see, Enrique. I did put Royal Rumble 2001 on this list. You had Edge and Christian in another great match against the Dudley Boys at the time, and then you had the WWE Championship between Triple H and Kurt Angle.
And the match of the year, the ladder match,
right, between Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit for the Intercontinental Championship, and that was the match stealer of the night, in my opinion.
And it was the second match on the card.
I could go back and watch that match, and I will still get wows, and I will still get chills from watching that match alone. Like, when I tell you, I might watch that match tonight. Knowing me, I might just watch that match tonight. The other matches that I remember? I remember Drew Carey being on the show with the honky tonk man, and that was pretty hilarious.
That was hilarious. Kane grabbed that damn guitar. I'm like, I love Jerry the King Law's commentary when he said this. He's a music hater. He hated that song. I'm like, wow. The Royal Rumble, it was based off into 3 sections. You had your serious, then comedic, and then when you had Drew Carey in there, I think JR had probably one of my favorite funny moments when Kane came out and Drew Carey was in the ring. He's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, Drew, Earth the Drew, take your glasses off. You're not a Dudley. Hey, JR, Drew, hey, Drew, what's your blood type? Ragu?
And then number 6, Goolie, you might like this one. Number 6, Fully Loaded 2000. Fully Loaded 2000 is at number 6. We talked about this off the air already, but Kurt Angle match with The Undertaker, which he was American Badass at the time. Chris Jericho last man standing match versus Triple H. You had The Rock showed his WWE faith as in the new star, but he definitely, I think he battled Chris Benoit in that.
Yeah, The Rock versus Benoit. If the Rock versus Benoit, right? Benoit would win the title, and he almost did.
The title. And I think Rock was on his way out anyway. Doing movies and stuff, but still, that was still a good match. But Fully Loaded, which you talked about earlier, which is not a bad pay-per-view, and it'll have some great matches. I was just watching that not too long ago. And then you have Judgment Day 2000 as number 5.
That was debatable. I mean, I'll give you that, the main event, because Undertaker returned.
Yeah, but then you had the Rock and Triple H feud.
Yeah, the Iron Man match was cool, but it couldn't touch the Brett and Shawn one.
And then you had Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit in the submission match as well.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then also the Dudleys and DX. I'll give you that one, but I don't know. The rest of the show is just, it was up and down. But that's just my opinion.
And then you have WrestleMania. When they had the WrestleMania have Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Which one was that again? 14. Yeah, I can't do the Roman numerals. I can't do it like that. I'm just as dumb when it comes to the Roman numerals. But this is when the Austin era actually began. It actually began in the Austin era, and Shawn Michaels is on his way out. He was hard, like we said off the air. He was hard. Shawn Michaels was hard to work with. He had the little braids hanging down, and he had Mike Tyson on his side. DX was booming. But Shawn Michaels wasn't great in this match. He wasn't great in this match. It was a good match that is very memorable because
but it wasn't the Shawn that we all
it wasn't the Shawn that we wanted in this match. It wasn't the Shawn that we wanted. You did have the Triple H feud with Owen Hart in this WrestleMania.
Yeah, but Owen Hart.
Yeah, he did with Owen Hart. You had Taka Michinoku for the Cruiserweight Championship. I missed the Cruiserweight Championship, the real Cruiserweight, and I missed the European title as well. You had Ken Shamrock versus The Rock, which can't be overlooked again. Very intense match at that WrestleMania. Taker and his brother Kane, arguably the best match those two ever had, in my personal opinion, outside of the WrestleManias with Shawn Michaels, lost them twice, and then the WrestleManias with Triple H lost twice. So it was a good WrestleMania. It wasn't that bad, but I just wish it would have been better due to the fact that Shawn Michaels would have wrestled better. But we already knew what was going into that match. Number 3, Royal Rumble 2000. Royal Rumble 2000, where you have it's really such an afterthought. In my personal opinion, it's definitely an afterthought. I do have who else do I have on here? Kurt Angle versus Taz.
Taz's debut.
Right. And then the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys in a tables match with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy did the Swanton Bomb from the taxi above entrance. That was crazy. That Swanton Bomb was ridiculous. And then you had Mick Foley release the Mankind. Didn't know what it took to beat Triple H. He didn't know which one he wanted to be. And then he ended up bringing out Cactus Jack to take on Triple H. Yeah, that was decent. The Chris Jericho
Jericho China Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, the triple threat match. Who won 2000 Royal Rumble?
The Rock.
Yeah, he did win it.
Yeah, I remember no Austin and no Undertaker. Undertaker was hurt and Austin was hurt.
Yeah, so the Rock did win it. And the Rock had to carry the company, right.
Yeah, the Rock had to carry the company, and I was mad that he didn't win at WrestleMania 16. Please tell me that's not on your list.
No, but I do. I have number 2. I have SummerSlam 2000.
SummerSlam 2000. I'll give you that because the first ever TLC match. Jesus.
The first ever TLC match, and that's one of those memorable matches that you could always go out and watch over and over and over again. And y'all can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing out of it at all. So when it comes to that match, that was the stole of the night.
Match of the night,
right? And then you had Jericho versus Benoit, 2 out of 3 falls. You had Taz versus Jerry Lawler, which was kind of a surprising, entertaining match. Wasn't the best, but it was definitely an entertaining match to watch. And then you had 2 incredible matches with Triple H versus The Rock versus Kurt Angle, which, Angle takes the pedigree, gone wrong on the announce table. And
when he had a concussion.
It definitely went wrong. Yeah, so that was.
There's one moment you forgot.
What?
When Shane McMahon fell damn near 30 feet.
Oh, yeah.
God, I felt that. My heart dropped. I'm like, oh, Shane is dead. That's all I said.
That was one of the feuds that we missed, too.
Shane versus Blackman.
Shane versus Angle too.
Shane versus Angle, and also what about this one? Shane versus Test.
I wasn't really a big Test fan.
What?
I wasn't really a big Test fan.
But he had a good match with Test at SummerSlam 99. You can't deny that. It was a good match.
And my number one top pay-per-view of Attitude Era is WrestleMania 17.
There you go.
WrestleMania 17. Can't go wrong with WrestleMania 17. One of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. When you look through the card,
probably one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time.
One of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Jericho versus Regal, Angle and Benoit. And then you had the McMahons and Undertaker and Triple H. Then you had the TLC matches, which was the show stealers at the time. You had The Rock versus Stone Cold, one of the greatest WrestleMania matches that I've seen.
Stone Cold turned heel.
Yeah, that's what Stone Cold turned heel. He was like, I think Jim Ross was like, he is with the damn devil. Something of that nature.
And he had the best call of the night saying, son of a bitch, I don't believe this. A lot of people thought Vince went babyface. I'm like, because, it was in Austin's hometown. And I'm like, I don't think so. And also another memorable match, probably one of my favorite hardcore matches, Kane versus Big Show versus Raven. Oh my God, that match was funny. It was too damn good.
Yeah. So that is it, y'all. That we have our top 10 pay-per-views from Ruthless Aggression and the top 10 for Attitude Era. Now, the best storylines of the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression. But before we go, I gotta take a little bit of commercial break. I gotta get some water. My mouth is parched. So, Goolie, you can talk about anything until we get to that top. It ain't gonna take me that long to get there. I'll be right back.
Well, with the Ruthless Aggression Era and the Attitude Era, I will say this. You know what? With these pay-per-views, they were spectacular. But there are, some that I did like all from there. I mean, like from the Attitude Era, I will say this. For my top 10 for the Attitude Era, though, WrestleMania is automatically number one. Another one that I also would love when it comes to feuds, Undertaker versus Austin was a feud. That was, Jesus Christ, Austin, like the Highway to Hell storyline. That was great. How you feel about the North? The North? What do you mean, the North? The North. The NFC North, or you mean the Noid, like the Detroit Lions? But, to be honest, though, wrestling is a form of art, and I always loved it. We already gotten feuds. We've done pay-per-views. Next is matches. Everyone's favorite matches from each era. And you know what? I gotta say, when Spotlight comes back, he's gonna go first with this, because there's a lot of great matches. From both eras.
All right, TG, we're not really actually talking about football in this actual show here. This is just a wrestling show that me and Malcgoolie is going to do on Thursday nights. Because I know we've been talking football a lot. And we just wanted, to shed some light onto wrestling. So we're not really talking any football tonight, but that's just a different story for a different time. You can definitely go back and watch our free agency podcast on YouTube as well. So top 10 matches. We want matches or no, it's storylines. I'm sorry, we're going storylines. Okay. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same anymore. That's why we're talking about the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, because we know it's not the same anymore. We know that for a fact. But I'm gonna go first because you did go first in the last topic. Top 10, and I'm gonna make these very simple. I'm not gonna really go through and really explain too much about them because you probably would know much about these storylines anyway. Top 10 storylines of the Attitude Era. Number 10, Team Extreme versus ENC versus the Dudley Boys. They had an okay storyline that I really liked because, like I said, the tag team division in the Attitude Era was really good. Number 9, Bret Screw Bret. Biggest storyline in WWE history. You know, the Montreal screw drop, which the Ruthless Aggression Era never had nothing like that before. But if y'all did watch the Broken Skull sessions on WWE Network, you could get the Bret Hart version of what happened that night. Of the screw job. Yeah, number 8, the Black Wedding with the Ministry of Darkness when they tried to have Undertaker and Stephanie McMahon get married, and Stone Cold and came out and saved the day. The Ministry of Darkness versus McMahon's, the corporation was a good storyline as well. I think it was just too long of a storyline, in my opinion.
And they kind of ruined it by having Undertaker and Vince join together because that was stupid. Having Vince as the higher power, really?
Right.
Why wasn't it Jake the Snake? It would have made sense.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, that would have made sense. That definitely would have made sense. This is an entertaining storyline. Mark Merrill didn't want Sable to show off her puppies. That was a very interesting because, mind you, you gotta think about the Attitude Era. It wasn't about women's wrestling, but Sable's body, baby. When I tell you, Sable's body was what? Are you serious?
I hated Sable.
You can hate Sable, but her body was.
I hated her body because her body was fake.
Just like every woman in the WWE body is fake right now.
Shoot.
Thank you, Sable. Thank you.
Sable had no talent. I'm sorry.
A lot of women in the Attitude Era really didn't have any talent at that time. Even Sunny didn't have talent either.
Oh God, Sunny. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. You're okay. You win. The only one who had really talent was Marlena and freaking Jacqueline and Lita and Trish.
Yeah, but that was later in the Attitude Era.
God. Oh my God. Next, please.
The number 6 is the Test and Stephanie McMahon love.
Aww. So you did like this
until Triple H ruined it.
Yeah, by drugging her.
That definitely made the list of number 6. Number 5, Mick Foley finally wins gold.
Yes, 99.
Yup, in 99, Mick Foley finally wins gold.
Holy
Daddy-O wins the championship.
You're saying these are more like moments. These are moments.
Yeah, but it was a storyline behind Mick Foley winning that title, though. It was a storyline.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. These are moments / storylines.
Kurt Angle, Stephanie, and Triple H love triangle. That storyline.
That one was good.
And it definitely came into light in Fully Loaded 2000 when Triple H was like, I didn't send you all these flowers, and it was Kurt Angle. It was Kurt Angle sending all those flowers, and Triple H was pissed. Triple H.
No, you gotta think about SummerSlam 2000 when he called Stephanie. Is Stephanie like, oh, hi, mom?
Oh my God!
I was like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. Stephanie was really attractive in 2000. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah.
And then that was number 4. Number 3. Someone tried to kill Steve Austin. And who was that person trying to kill Steve Austin? It was Rikishi.
That didn't make any sense either. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it.
You know, like the Samoan family and all that. So, yeah, but nobody couldn't figure out who the hell it was. Every Monday night, I'm sitting there like, who in the hell is trying to kill Steve Austin every week?
Bro,
out of all people, they picked Rikishi though.
Guess who I thought it was?
Who you thought it was?
Kurt Angle, because you got to think about it. Who had a lot to gain from the WWF when Austin was gone? The same guy who made his debut at Survivor Series, Kurt Angle.
True.
Wouldn't that have been better than Rikishi?
Yeah, that would have been better than Rikishi. Absolutely, that would have been better in Rikishi. And the storyline when the rise of the Rock.
Yes,
The rise of the Rock is number 2 on my list because he came from being Rocky Maivia, and then he went to being Rocky Maivia of the Nation of Domination. Then he turned on the Nation of Domination, and then he became the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. And this storyline was pretty good, knowing that they all turned on Farouk, and The Rock ended up being the leader of the Nation of Domination.
And then having Owen Hart on there was also kind of cool.
I didn't like it.
What? With Owen Hart?
I didn't like it. It just felt weird when you had a bunch of black guys and you had one white guy a part of the Nation of Domination. It just seemed very weird.
Well, shoot, he was really Canadian.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was really Canadian. Like, it just didn't. Yeah, all these Americans and one Canadian on a Nation of Domination. Like,
yeah. And what's number 1?
And number 1 is Undertaker long lost brother.
That one was good. That was a good story.
Long lost brother. And that storyline with Paul Heyman said, Kane is alive. Kane is alive,
Undertaker. Your brother Kane is coming.
And then he said, you're the only one. He was like, face your brother. Face your brother. Face your brother. One more time. You'll burn in hell.
The only way to win this match, if you or your brother will have to catch fire. I felt my whole soul. I was like, when they said catch fire, I was like, wait a minute. Don't tell me they're going to lit themselves on fire. I said, oh, hell no. Not for me.
That's when that Inferno match finally came out.
God, and that was a good-ass match.
That's one of the matches I didn't put on there for. Yes, I did. I think I did.
Undertaker versus Kane Inferno match. That was
the first ever Inferno match, not the second one, but the first one.
And it had probably one of the best Undertaker victories ever, with Undertaker doing the pose and the fire is raising. That was amazing. It made me feel like the Undertaker was super powerful.
Yeah, he seemed like it made you feel like he was unstoppable at the time. I did love that storyline. So that's my number 1 storyline of the Attitude Era. But of course, I didn't want to put Austin versus McMahon because I know that was the biggest storyline of the Attitude Era, but that was
also the biggest feud.
Right, it was the biggest feud, but that was the obvious.
Obvious.
Right, so that's why I didn't want to put it on there, especially I already had it on the top 10 rivalries. So it wasn't no point to put it on there for the top 10 storylines, knowing that storyline, that rivalry was almost in the same. So, yep, and that is my top 10 storylines of the Attitude Era. Malcgoolie, you could definitely go ahead with the Ruthless Aggression.
Well, with the Ruthless Aggression, this one here is a no-brainer for number 10. And for number 10 has to be this. Dominic, I have something to tell you. And Rey Mysterio is not your papi. I'm your papi.
Oh, damn. God.
Eddie Guerrero saying that Dominic was his son. I was like, even I cried when a young Dominic said, oh my God, Dad, is that true? Is that really true? And Dominic running, I was like, oh, God, you can't tell me you felt bad. I felt so bad for Ray. Oh my God. Thank God Ray won the ladder match too, because even though I think that was weird, putting custody of a child on a ladder was kind of weird, but at the same time, it was still Eddie and Ray, so you can't get away with that. Another one from the Ruthless Aggression, number 9, gotta be. Oh my God, here's one that gotta be Eric Bischoff versus Stone Cold Steve Austin when they were both co-general managers. It made Raw super entertaining. You had Stone Cold there every single freaking week. It was amazing. It was awesome. It was great. And also, need I remind you, Bad Blood 2003, the Redneck Triathlon, when the pie eating contest. Oh my God. Oh, Eric Bischoff and Mae Young. Oh God, Jesus Christ, that was gross. Thank God, Stone Cold Steve Austin stunned Mae Young. Number 9. You know what? This one here is gonna be, a little bit of the darker type of territory. Vince McMahon and Stephanie. When Vince tried his best to make Stephanie quit as SmackDown GM. I mean, they fought on the first ever father and daughter I quit match. Stephanie McMahon, to me, I think Stephanie can play a really good babyface, and it really showed in 2002 and 2003. But, good things all didn't come to an end. Also, it was at the point for Stephanie to get off television because she was getting married to Triple H at the time. So that was the only way for them to write her off of television. Another segment from the Attitude Era that was also, probably another good one here. Storyline. You gotta put you have to put freaking not Chris Benoit, Undertaker and Batista. I mean, those matches were hard hitting. It was fitting. It was just I was happy Batista didn't break the streak, but I was happy that Taker had his moment at Mania. That was one of them. Another one that I love here, you gotta do, you know what? You can't be a Ruthless Aggression fan if you don't say the SmackDown 6. And who is the SmackDown 6, Mal? Who is the SmackDown 6? I'll tell you. Eddie and Chavo Guerrero, Kurt Angle and Benoit, Rey Mysterio and Edge. Like, Paul Heyman saved SmackDown from cancellation. Think about that. SmackDown was supposed to be ending in 2002, but Vince McMahon gave the power and the writing and the creative control to Paul Heyman. We have to thank Paul Heyman, because if not, who knows? JR and King would have called every single pay-per-view, not Michael Cole and Taz. I mean, and Michael Cole and Taz had a very good moment. Another moment in the Ruthless Aggression era. Oh God, you gotta put this. You know what? Triple H and Batista.
Yeah,
you cannot beat me. You can't beat me. Hell in a Cell, Unforgiven was amazing. You gotta put that on there. Another one for the Ruthless Aggression era. Even though this one kind of just is another disturbing one, but it was an entertaining one. Vince McMahon versus God. My God, Vince McMahon is a son of a bitch. Let's not sugarcoat it. He's a son of a bitch. But when he started mocking God, and then he had his own religion, he like this. Thank you and amen. I'm like,
you made me think about one of the promos that he cut.
Yeah, when he prayed, he's like this. God, I don't like you, and you don't like me. I'm like, how is Vince not struck by lightning? Like, how?
Not even that. It's the one in the Attitude. I think it was Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, where he was talking about the NWO.
Oh yeah, I'm going to inject the WWE with a dose of poison.
Yes, the NWO.
He's like this. The only person who's gonna kill my creation is me. Vince is killing me, man. It's gonna be me. NWO. Oh. Okay. Vince looked creepy. He looked scary. He looked like he was.
You gotta watch the promo, because if you listen to the music, it'd be like.
What's another moment from the Attitude Era? Oh my God, you cannot. Edge, Matt, and Lita.
Oh, that feud was lovely.
Oh my God,
I love that feud, man. I love that feud.
But it was realism. Lita cheated on Matt with his best friend Edge.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I always, when I was a little kid, I always said this. I always wanted to love like Matt and Lita. But at the same time, when that happened, I was like, no. I cried. My heart, my little 10-year-old heart broke when Edge and Lita broke up. My whole 10-year-old me was like, no, damn you, Edge. Damn you, Edge. You broke the code. Oh my God. I wanted to be a fly in the wall to see how much money they paid Matt Hardy and Edge and Lita to just play along. Oh,
that was crazy.
That was so freaking that was insane.
It was insane. It was very, very personal. I think they had that on WWE rivalries, actually.
Another one. Here's one like this. Hogan and Shawn Michaels. It had one of my favorite Shawn Michaels moments ever. Oh, Michaels just super kicked the hell out of Hogan. I was cheering. I was like, yes, Shawn went heel. Yes, Shawn went heel. Because I couldn't stand Hulk Hogan back then. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. When Shawn super kicked the hell out of Hogan on that Raw, my eyes went up. I was like, I was like, yeah! Yeah! Too bad the match at SummerSlam sucked, but
Yeah, that was trash.
The reason why, because Hogan didn't want to play ball. It was supposed to be a 3-match situation, but Hogan felt like, oh, Shawn has to go heel. Why does Shawn have to go heel? Why couldn't he just been babyface? What was wrong with a babyface versus babyface? This is why I hate Hogan, because he done so many stupid decisions. We never even got Bret Hart versus Hulk Hogan. Urgh! Damn you, Hulk. But you did make Shawn Michaels entertaining for a whole entire month. I'll give you that. Remember the Larry King interview? I'll tell you something, brother. Oh, brother. God, but at the same time, I couldn't feel sorry for Shawn because Shawn did the same shady shit that he did back in 96 through 98. So I couldn't even justify with Shawn, because Shawn did the same shit. It was like Shawn had a piece of his own medicine with Hogan. He was like I couldn't feel bad, but I understood it. Okay, what's another moment from the Attitude? Oh my God. Undertaker being buried alive. Now, why is this one on here as a moment for me? Survivor Series 2003. Jesus Christ almighty, when Undertaker punched Vince McMahon so hard, Vince was bleeding. He was like, he didn't know where he was. I'm like, damn, Vince. After damn, Mark really beat the living shit out of Vince. But then Kane came out of nowhere and buried his brother alive. And speaking of Kane, free TV, Kane unmasking.
Oh yeah.
Oh God!
It looks so weird.
It was so weird, but at the same time, it was kind of.
You notice? I don't know if you knew, if you watched the Broken Skull sessions. Kane was like, he did not want to cut his hair.
Yeah, he didn't want to cut his hair. He had a perm or something.
Yeah, he didn't want to cut his hair, and his wife didn't even know that his hair was cut for that segment alone. He had to come home and explain to his wife what happened, why it had to be cut.
And also, Kane had a lot of moments when he was unmasked. Remember, he chokeslammed the hell out of Eric Bischoff. He set JR on fire.
Yeah.
He threw Linda McMahon. He electrocuted Shane McMahon's balls.
Yeah, once he started talking without the little thing, I thought, the character grew. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kane said that the first one with the leather mask is his best Kane, but I think when he started talking, I think it was one of his best characters once he started talking.
And also, I will say this about Kane too. Also, I will say this about Kane, and it was also probably one of the other things from Kane. Oh my God! Remember when Shane damn near killed Kane, but then the next week we see Kane in the hospital, and then Kane just set up and just destroyed the hospital. I'm like, Kane looked absolutely scary and mental, and they had probably the best moment of Kane when he was in shackles and chains. That was a damn good sight. Before I get to number one, here's an honorable mention and a dishonorable mention. Dishonorable mention first.
Here we go.
Wrestling has its dark days, right?
Yeah, I do know that. I
have 2 words for you. Katie Vick.
Oh, Lord.
Do you remember that angle?
I hated that angle. Jesus Christ.
Why would you have Triple H fuck a dead corpse on live television? Even me and my dad were watching that Raw, and I didn't know what was going on because I was little, I was naive. My dad said, literally, he said, what? He was shocked. Even my cousins were shocked. They had to explain to me what was going on. And now looking back at it, at first I was like, it's not that bad. It's wrestling. Now looking at it now, oh my God. Why would they do such a thing? It was distasteful. I can't believe WB is still a publicly traded company after that.
I think Vince McMahon had to kiss some. Vince McMahon had to kiss some behind afterwards. I'm sorry.
I don't know who wrote that, and nobody still doesn't know who wrote it. That's funny. Nobody knows who wrote the freaking angle. Are you high? How you don't know? And another moment, for the Attitude Era, for the Ruthless Aggression era, I will say this. The launching of newer stars for the PG era. Now, hear me out. I'm talking about number one, CM Punk. Because CM Punk was in the Ruthless Aggression era at the time.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it.
Kofi Kingston. You had a lot of, you had Kofi Kingston, you had CM Punk, you even had a very, very young Evan Bourne. It was a lot. Also, another honorable mention, Joey Mercury's face being broken. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that was bad.
Oh, that's when I knew. I'm like, those ladders can't be. That's when I knew the ladders aren't fake. Those are real ladders. I'm shocked Joey Mercury didn't even die in this pay-per-view. And now the number one moment from the Ruthless Aggression era.
What?
Actually, no. Another honorable mention first. One more. Mick Foley and Randy Orton. That was a good feud, and that was a good moment. But number one is the starting of Evolution and the beatdown of Randy Orton.
I love Evolution, and I think they was the highlight of Ruthless Aggression, in my personal opinion.
The reason why I say Evolution's number one, because think about it, was a great stable, 4-man stable. We haven't seen a great stable like this, a 4-man great stable. Don't you dare say NWO, and don't you dare say DX. No, we're gonna have to go to way back. The 4 Horsemen.
Yeah, the 4 Horsemen, absolutely.
They were like a retool of the 4 Horsemen. You had Ric Flair, an original member of the 4 Horsemen, and you also had the following. You had a young Batista, a young Randy Orton, a very, talented Triple H. And what the one thing that bothered me with Evolution? They never had a woman. They never had a woman.
Why would they need one?
I mean, I know why they need one, but wouldn't it have been crazier if they had a woman on the group?
But at that time, who was really a badass at that time?
You had either it was either going to be Victoria or it was going to be Trish.
As a badass, I can't see it. Trish Stratus was a fan favorite.
Trish Stratus was like the babe of the year. And speaking of another honorable mention, here's this one: Jericho, Christian, Trish Stratus love angle.
What was the love angle again?
Trish Stratus, Christian, and Chris Jericho. That was a good one. Also, another one. This one also is a good storyline too. Mickie James and Trish Stratus. Like that feud made Mickie James. Need I remind you that Mickie James grabbed Trish Stratus and her goody goods and did the V shape with her tongue? Do I have to mention that?
Oh, I do remember that. I definitely
That was amazing. It made me fall in love with Mickie. But that's it for me.
All right, so that's the storylines, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the storylines, that is the top 10 storylines of Ruthless Aggression, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, the last topic of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the top 10 matches. The top 10 matches of the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, ladies and gentlemen. And what I have to say about this is that I think I'm gonna go first because I think Goolie has his favorite matches, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And what I have to say, and you might not like them, but you might not like them. I'll be 100% honest with you. So let me just go and state this right now. The top 10 Attitude Era matches, no particular order. Number 10, Steve Austin versus Undertaker at SummerSlam in 1998.
That was a good match.
That was a great match. Very underrated. Most people don't talk about, but I love that match. Number 9, Triple H versus Jericho, Fully Loaded, 2000. Which Malcgoolie would say one of the best event of 2000 was Fully Loaded, according to Malcgoolie. Number 8, Steve Austin versus Dude Love, Over the Edge, 1998.
I love Dude Love. I'm sorry. I love that.
Dude Love had one of the best characters. Mick Foley had some of the best characters. He had 4 characters in WWE: Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love,
and himself.
So he had 4 characters. Who knows who had 4 characters in WWE? That's crazy. Number 7, Mankind versus Taker, Hell in a Cell, 98.
Yeah.
That was one of the matches. I put that on there. I could have put the Boiler Room Brawl on there. I could have put the King of the Ring match, but I did like the Hell in a Cell match in 98. Same year. Number 6, Triple H versus The Rock, SummerSlam, 1998.
Yes.
Great match. Great match.
People on the freaking ladder.
Yes, and people don't really know like what could really happen. It was just most of these matches I might go back and watch tonight if I'm not playing my video game. That's just me. Number 5.
You love here in a minute.
Number 5, Triple H versus Cactus Jack, Royal Rumble 2000. Not too bad, but I did like the fact that Cactus Jack actually returned in 2000. So yeah, I have no problem with that.
We haven't seen the character in over a year.
Yeah, we haven't seen that character over a year. So yeah, it was definitely a match that I could go back and rewatch. Number 4, Edge and Christian versus Hardy Boys versus Dudley Boys, WrestleMania 17. Can't go wrong with that match.
All of them. I wouldn't have been mad if you guys said 16 or SummerSlam or WrestleMania. You should say all of them because all of them were good.
All of them is there at number 4.
All 3 of them.
All 3 of them is there at number 4. You can't go wrong with that. Number 3, Triple H versus Austin. No Way Out. 2000. 2001. I'm sorry, 2001.
That was amazing.
Great match. Phenomenal match. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker in Your House. Bad Blood 97. The night that Kane debuted. And we all know what's the number 1 match in the Attitude Era. We should already know this by now. Steve Austin versus Rock. WrestleMania 17. It's the obvious, but it's the greatest. That's
also, brother Spotlight, though, when it comes back to pay-per-view, this also brought in my mind because I got a pay-per-view that you can watch that I'm shocked you didn't have on your top 10. WWF In Your House Canadian Stampede.
I wasn't really a big fan of Canadian Stampede, but I could go back and see if I could remember. Because I don't remember anything from that match.
It was the Hart Foundation in their hometown against Austin, the Legion of Doom, and Ken Shamrock. It was when the Hart family was home. They were cheered, and the Americans were bad. Undertaker defended the WWF Championship against Vader. Taka Michinoku took on the Great Susuke in a great match. And also, we start off with a good match, Mankind versus Triple H. It is that damn good. It's a damn good pay-per-view. Canadian Stampede. Take my word for it. We'll even do a review on it next week.
Yeah, we could definitely go do a review of that.
Yeah, Canadian Stampede. Do a review of that. It's 1990. I think it was 97.
Do they have it on the network?
It's on the network. It's that good, bro. I'm telling you.
Interesting.
That Taka Michinoku Great Susuke match is a seat edger. Well, that's your matches for the Attitude Era, but here's mine for the Ruthless Aggression. This is no particular order. Los Guerreros versus Kurt Angle and Benoit versus Edge and Mysterio for the SmackDown WWE Tag Team titles.
That's not bad.
I mean, the Los Guerreros. I wanted Edge and Mysterio to retain because I was a big Mysterio and Edge fan. But having the Guerreros win, I didn't mind it. I didn't even hate it. It was actually kind of cool having the Guerreros win the titles. Here's a good one here. John Cena versus Edge. Tables, ladders, and chairs at Unforgiven. Another one, Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 19. And there's another one, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar, No Way Out 2004. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker at Hell in a Cell at No Mercy 2002. This one here is also a hidden gem. John Cena versus The Undertaker at Vengeance 2003.
I was about to say, don't say WrestleMania. I was about to say.
No, that doesn't count. Also, another match that's also a hidden gem. And it was on Raw. TLC number 4. And what I mean TLC number 4, Jericho and Christian versus Jeff Hardy and RVD versus Bubba Ray and Spike versus Kane and the Hurricane for the World Tag Team Championships. And this is when they were pushing the hell out of Kane, because Kane did it all by himself. You can look it up on YouTube. It is on YouTube.
What?
That match I just said. the fatal 4-way tables, ladders, and chairs match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Yeah, Hurricane got jumped by Evolution, Triple H and Ric Flair, and Kane won the TLC match by himself.
I gotta look back at that. I don't remember that match at all.
It's a hidden gem, just like this other hidden gem that I have. Undertaker and Batista, that one's good. Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. But my number one gotta be for number one when it comes to Ruthless Aggression. It has to be, the match. It got to be the match, and that's Chris Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in an honorable mention, Randy Orton versus Mick Foley at Backlash 2004. Oh my God, that match made Randy.
Yeah, it did make Randy.
God, when Randy got into those thumbtacks, JR had the best call. No, that wasn't JR, it was the King. He was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He's like, the thumbtacks are in the spine and the hand. Randy! Like, wow. Yeah, man. Ruthless Aggression had a lot of hitting matches. But yeah, D, I will send it to you on via Messenger when we're done here.
Absolutely.
It's a good match. Think about this. The Hardys and Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam as a tag team. Christian and Chris Jericho as a tag team. You had Bubba Ray and Spike as a tag team. And then you had Kane, who won this match by himself. And his tag team partner was the Hurricane. This was at the time when they were trying to push Kane as a dominant threat. This is when Kane came back as mid of 2002. This is when they made him do the Kane-a-Rooney. A Kane-a-Rooney. God. But yeah, that's it for my Ruthless Aggression, man. And also, I also got a hidden gem in the Attitude Era that a lot of people don't talk about because of Chris Benoit. And it's kind of sad that people say, oh, we want a Tables, Ladders, and Chairs 3. There is a TLC 3 match, guys. Look it up. It's on SmackDown. It was on free television, too. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit defending the WWF Tag Team titles against the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. That's the closest to a TLC 3 you'll ever get. Actually, it is TLC 3. So yeah, all those matches, those 2 TLC matches, D is getting them as soon as we get out of here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all.
As a matter of fact, he might watch him with me here.
Honestly, yeah, I might watch him with you here. But I still gotta make me something to eat. I still gotta get my life together, knowing that I had a long night last night. But yeah, y'all, we want to thank y'all for tuning in into another Spotlight Sports Talk Malcgoolie collaboration. If you don't know, then now you know. Every Thursday we will be doing this. Tomorrow, I think we're doing SmackDown tomorrow, right?
And pray for us. I swear to God, if
they
show something from the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, I am going to scream.
I think I'm just going to do that on Malgoolie's channel. Not on my channel. I think I'm just going to be on Malgoolie's channel only. But when we do this on Thursdays, this will be on both of our channels.
Both.
So, make sure y'all go subscribe to Malcgoolie, which is MALCGOOLIE, which that is on Instagram, which it is on YouTube, and I think it is on Snapchat as well. Yes, it's on Snapchat and Twitter. They're all the same. And for me, it's YouTube at Spotlight Sports Talk, Twitter, Spotlight FB Talk, Instagram, Spotlight Sports Talk. Snapchat, I don't have, and I'm not giving y'all my personal Snapchat. That's just, I don't want y'all lurking me like that. Absolutely not. But Goolie, any final words of this segment of Ruthless Aggression and Attitude Era? I feel like we went down such a memory lane with these topics tonight.
Memory lane. But no comments here, but no comments or concerns. And for everybody that wants to know my 2 cents about WrestleMania being a 2-day thing, it's both good and bad. It's good because it's more wrestling, but it's bad because there's no freaking crowd. Vince, it just postponed the show.
Yeah, he's not
old decrepit mutant.
He's not going to postpone it, bro. It's Vince McMahon. His stupidity is retarded. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This episode 1 is officially done. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Knowing that we didn't have a lot of viewership tonight, a lot of big channels are live right now, like Entertainer Talking Sports, the Sports Fairy, now the Grid and Troxel Show. They are having their stuff go down right now. So a lot of people are live right now, but we do want to thank all the supporters that did come in and show us love. Doing this every Thursday night at between 8 and 8:30. We will be doing this, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you guys want to know next week. So here's next week's episode for episode 2. Next week on the awesome show, like this, we're going to a stampede, a Canadian stampede.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Canadian the stampede
pay-per-view.
The pay-per-view.
I think that would be fair. Like we go to 1 week, 1 episode, the Attitude Era, then we go to Ruthless Aggression 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we will be doing Ruthless Aggression next week, right?
No, Attitude Era. Canadian Stampede was an Attitude Era pay-per-view.
Okay. So next week would be Attitude Era pay-per-view, and then the following week would be a Ruthless Aggression review of
for wrestling okay, this is what I would do for Ruthless Aggression. Vengeance 2003.
Okay. And I'm probably going to do something that's on the actual list. I probably want to do a WrestleMania because WrestleMania is pretty long. That's going to be a hell of a review. So I might do I think Fully Loaded 2000 would be my next one that we can review, because we were supposed to review that tonight, but I feel as though to get our top 10s out the way, I really thought that was really better for us to do. But let us know what you actually think about this every single Thursday. We give you a classic wrestling. It gives you some sports to talk about, because we can't talk about NBA because of coronavirus. NFL, now we don't know what's going on with that now since Sean Payton is coronavirus. And so hopefully we can give you a more
content. Football guys, it was supposed to go to Bill O'Brien, not Sean Payton.
Exactly. It's not supposed to go to Sean Payton. Absolutely not. But nothing else you had to say, Goolie? Nothing else?
Nope. Next week, Canadian Stampede, guys. Be there.
Be there or be square, and we will promote this a little bit more. Comment, like, and subscribe to both of our channels. Hit that like button, and we see y'all next Thursday with another Spotlight and Goolie Wrestling Podcast, episode 1. Episode 1. Yeah. So,
all I got to say is this. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Before we do anything, Gaming with JT said, yo, I agree, man. This is the best thing I ever did as a tag team. Y'all like the Hardy Boys. Malcolm is Hardy and Sport Talk is Nat Hardy. How is that even possible?
Because here's the thing. I will agree that you are more Matt Hardy. But me, I love Jeff Hardy because I can take one risk. I'm not afraid to fall off a roof.
I'm not afraid to fall off a roof either. So I guess. But well, as of right now, I'm in AEW if you want to feel like that.
Oh yeah, because did you see Matt Hardy's hair dye?
Yes, I did see it.
Dude, I like it. The crimson red. I like that.
It's pretty dope. But thank y'all for tuning in. And we might put this on both of our anchors. I gotta set up my anchor for some reason. Goolie, once we get off air, I gotta ask some questions about Anchor. But we might put this on Anchor and Spotify for both of our podcasts. But thank y'all for tuning in. Comment, like, and subscribe to the channels. Subscribe to us on Anchor, which the links are in the description. Please go support both of our anchors, both of our Spotifys, and we see y'all next week, man. We out here.
Peace.